Good morning all. Let's continue with module 4 IO devices. In the previous session we have seen about the introduction to module 4 and the need for IO interfacing. Now we are going to discuss about IO addressing. This can also be seen as how we can connect to IO devices, how we can establish a connection between processor and IO devices. It is through an IO address, so that will be discussed in IO addressing. First, let us see what is an IO address. It is also known as port address. Each IO device connected to your computer is mapped to a unique IO address. So every device that is connected to our computer will have a unique address. That is known as IO address. These addresses are assigned to every IO port on your computer, including USB, Ethernet, VGA, DVI ports, etc. So these are external devices that we can connect with the computer, that is through this IO ports. Having a unique address assigned to each port allows your computer to easily recognize and locate devices attached to your computer. Whether it is a keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, or any other device, the computer can locate it by its address. Because IO addresses are controlled by the computer's motherboard, they do not use up any system memory or RAM. So these are controlled by computer's motherboard. They are already programmed what should be the address of each port that are connected to the computer. So it is not using the system's memory or RAM. We can do IO addressing in two ways. First one is by means of a separate IO address space, that is using specific IO instructions. This is also known as isolated IO addressing. And the second method is by means of memory mapped IO, or it is using general purpose operand manipulation instructions. So this is known as memory mapped IO addressing. So these are the two ways that we can do this IO addressing. And as we have discussed about this, that is, we have separate IO bus, or we are using the same system bus for connecting IO devices. We can have different lines like data bus, address bus, and control bus. And we will see what is the difference between these two types of addressing in detail in the coming slides. First, let's see what is an isolated IO. Isolated IO have common bus, data, and address. So we have a common bus for memory as well as for IO in terms of data bus and address bus, but separate read and write control lines for IO and memory. So we are sharing the address bus and data bus with memory and IO, but the control bus is separate for memory and IO devices. Here in this figure you can see there are two lines from memory control line to memory, and there are two lines to IO is represented in this figure. It represents one memory read and memory write, and the control lines for IO denotes IO read and IO write. So that is represented in this figure. So we have a separate control line for memory and IO. That is known as isolated IO. So when CPU decode instruction, then if data is for IO, then it places the address on the address line and set IO read or write control line on due to which data transfer occurs between CPU and IO. So based on that control signal, it decides whether it is a IO read or whether it is a memory read or whether it is a IO write or memory write. As the address space of memory and IO is isolated and the name is so. Here we have different read-write instruction for both IO and memory. So next one is memory mapped IO. In this case, every bus in common, due to which the same set of instructions work for memory and IO. So we have a shared bus that is shared between memory and input-output devices. Hence, we manipulate IO same as memory. Both have same address space, due to which addressing capability of memory become less because some part is occupied by the IO. So it is shared between these devices. So now let's see some differences between isolated IO and memory mapped IO. Isolated IO, we have memory and IO have separate address space, but in memory mapped both have same address space. All addresses can be used by the memory in the case of isolated IO. Due to addition of IO, addressable memory become less for memory in the case of memory mapped IO. Separate instruction control read and write operation in IO and memory. Same instructions can control both IO and memory in memory mapped IO. In this, IO address are called ports. Normally, in the case of isolated IO, the IO addresses are called ports. Normal memory addresses are used for both the cases, for both memory and IO devices. And isolated IO provide more efficiency due to separate buses, and the memory mapped IO provide lesser efficiency. And isolated IO is larger in size due to more buses, but the memory mapped IO will have small size. And isolated IO is complex due to separate logic that is used to control both, but memory mapped IO is having simpler logic that is used as IO, is also treated as memory only. I have given you a small task to identify these input-output devices or both the type. I hope you could identify at least 2 to 3 devices because we all are used to some of the devices that is represented here. We will check some of these in the next slide. Hope you can identify some of the input devices here. We have a keyboard, we have an optical pen, or we can say light pen, and we have scanner, barcode reader, and joystick, and many more. In the previous figure you may see the robotic arm and some of the input devices like mouse, etc. And output devices, you can see some headphones or headset here, and we have a screen or monitor, and we have different types of printers including laser printer and inkjet printer, etc. And we have speakers and we have plotters. Plotter is similar to printer, but we will see what is the difference between printer and plotter while we are studying about output devices. And some of the devices can be used as input as well as output devices. There are devices like digital camera, pen drive, touch screen, or touchpad, then webcam, fax machine, modem, CD or DVD, etc. can act as both input and output devices. But due to having several features. This may vary because some of the devices provide both the facilities. So these are all regarding the initial discussion about I/O devices. Let's discuss about each category of I/O devices. First, we will see what are the input devices, and in the next topic, we will see what are the output devices. I already told you there are no points to understand. We can remember some points to under each and every topic, so you may feel dry. So I am not insisting you to study these points only. You can search for another points. You can mention some valid points inside each and every topic in this particular module. So I'm not compelling you to study the points I am giving as this material, but you can further read, or you can further search in the internet. You can find many points regarding each and every device, and if you feel it is interesting, you can point out that in your notebook, and you can write that in that when a question arises in that particular topic.